And good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Boleros podcast. I'm Gab and Sam. Our good friend Maui is not
Hello.
here. He's busy right now, so we're recording this on the morning of October 1, 2022, right before the start of UAAP season 85, and we'll be tackling our season preview for the upcoming UAAP season. We're very excited. It's been parang tagal, no?
Mm-hmm.
It's only been like
Tagal
what?
na.
5 months since the last UAAP season, and now we're back,
Too long.
and
Too
we're
long.
very yeah, too long talaga, too long. So we're back. So instead of doing this, you previewing team by team, analyzing the lineup, we're gonna do like some questions, some seven burning questions ready for the two of us. Sam will answer first, I will respond, and all that. Uh, so if you might be watching this maybe right after the first day of games, or whenever I get to upload this video, but we will be tackling the UAP teams. So let's get to our first question. So let's start with a
Game.
pretty obvious question, something we've always answered and like to answer in our podcast. So, Sam, who is your MVP favorite for this season? Just let's see. Let's say give a favorite and a runner-up.
Okay. By the way, guys, this is the first time I'm hearing the questions. So, medyo it might take some time for me to answer or baka may mga surprising answers ako kasi on the spot ako tinatanong ni Gab dito. Baka mamaya kasi may masabi na naman akong sino yung rookie of the year ko, si Janjan Felicilda type of answer, no? So one of the answers that I regret saying back then. Anyway,
Or si
MVP.
Janos Lozada sa Adams.
Ay, hindi naman yun, hindi naman yun on the spot question.
Oh,
Hindi naman
pero
yun on the spot.
that was funny. Okay,
Uh,
go, Sam.
yeah.
Who's your MVP
Game.
favorite?
So, defending MVP natin si Ange Kwame. I think Ange is still going to be in the running for MVP. But
Definitely.
I have to say, it has to be someone from UP and it has to be Carl Tamayo, di ba? Kasi meron siyang defending champion sila, so there's like really high expectations for them. Uh, he what do you call this? And kahit na defending champion sila, he is clearly the star there now, especially this year. Kasi, number one, nawala na si Richie Rivero. And Richie was, obviously the veteran and the star last year. Carl was the rookie. So, nawala na si Richie. And then they're losing CJ Cancino. So, and I think those two were the top scorers or parang scoring guys in the team. So, I feel like there's so much expectations from Carl Tamayo this season, no? In terms of like just carrying the load for UP and offensively, playmaking wise. So I think for me, for that reason, sa tingin ko talaga si Carl Tamayo yung magiging favorite to win the MVP. Runner up, this is a tougher question for me. But you know what? I think I'm not gonna go for Ange. Feel ko kasi baka sawa na yung mga tao with Ange coming from his MVP season last season. And I think na if we're just basing it on stats, I feel like a more important player to his team will be Jerome Lastimosa. So I'm gonna pick Gab's dark horse from last year. So he's my dark horse now
Yes,
this year.
yes.
So tama naman si Gab. I think ang naging issue lang ni Jerome Lastimosa, they had like a bad start last season. But nakita natin sila sa preseason this year. They're very good. They're very determined. And sa tingin ko, like, Jerome will start on fire. And because of that, sa tingin ko si Jerome will be the MVP runner-up. But Ange will be there. Top 3, top 5. But I feel
All
like
right.
it's
So
between Carl and Jerome.
all right. So I'm gonna comment lang on Carl Tamayo. I don't think it's Carl Tamayo because
Mm-hmm.
as we saw last season, he doesn't. He tends to chill for some games. You know, when it's a easy win or something. And he doesn't get the numbers bump. I actually think if there's gonna be an MVP from UP, it's gonna be Zabe Lucero. As we saw
Mm.
last season, he got the scoring bump. He gets a lot of rebounds. He gets a lot of defensive stats, a lot more than Carl Tamayo. So if there's any MVP coming from UP, I think it's gonna be Zave, not Carl. You know, he's Carl sometimes passive. He plays off the ball. He allows his other teammates to create for him, uh, and he's not as active as Zabe. So I'll go with Zabe Lucero, but he's not my favorite. Actually, my favorite for MVP is gonna be. Ma'am, it pains you to say it. Ayoko pumili from Lasal, pero kaya ako pumili
Kevin?
from Lasal.
Kevin
Si
o
Mike
Mike?
Phillips. Mike
Mm.
Phillips. I think Mike Phillips. You talk. You know, his historically, it's always been a big man. Well, it's majority of the past few years has always been a big man because they gobble up a lot of numbers, whether it's rebounds, points, blocks, steals, everything. So if it's gonna be MVP, it's gonna be a big man, and I think Mike Phillips with Balti out of there, he's gonna gobble up a lot of rebounds. I don't think he's gonna score a lot. Maybe he's gonna score what 10, 12 points a game, and he's gonna average lock it in around 15 rebounds a game. I don't think he has any competition for that. I don't think Kevin Kiambao is a big rebounder. He's more of a playmaking big uh, of the high post. He's gonna get block shots. Mike Phillips and LaSalle is gonna win a lot of games, and they're gonna challenge for number one in the standing. So my favorite is Mike Phillips. For my runner-up, same tayo Sam. I'm still on the Jerome Lastimosa train. I want him to win something. I'm
You
such a
called
fan.
it. In
Oh,
fairness
talaga.
sa'yo, eh, yun naman yung pinili mo last season.
Oh, talaga. I'm still riding his train. Jerome Lastimosa. I think he's gonna lead the league in scoring. Again,
Exactly.
Adamson doesn't have a lot of weapons. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. But
AP
from a,
Manlapas begs to differ, to disagree.
yeah, maybe. But he's still the main guy. Nastrosella loves running it, loves running every play through him. He's definitely gonna score. He's such a good player, such a good playmaker. So my runner-up is Jerome Lastimosa. I'm a fan. I'm a fan. All right. So for our next question, Sam, who's your breakout star for UAAP season? Uh, well, not star. Okay, maybe I framed the question. Who's a breakout player for this upcoming UAAP season? Again, you can give a front runner and a runner up.
Ah, hmm. Di ko alam eh, cheating ba to? Cheating ba to? Kung pwede ba pumili ng rookie bilang breakout player. Ah, sige, wag na lang. Wag na lang. I wanna, baka magtatanong ka ba about rookies? Yun na lang.
Oh. Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Siyempre.
okay. Sige.
Who's your breakout player? Who's your breakout player?
Sige, breakout player. So,
You can answer
pero to be
this.
fair,
Mo. Go.
to be fair ha, hindi hindi ako nanood ng any of the preseason games eh. The only games that I saw were Ateneo games. Syempre bias tayo, pero um wala I didn't have a chance to watch any of the preseason games. Pero if I'm just judging from yung previous season, breakout player. Alam mo, pipili akong dalawang ateista. um, Medyo cheating. Pipili,
Homer!
Homer pick. Um, Pipili akong dalawang atenista. Ang breakout players ko will be ang runner up ko si Josh Lazaro. I think
Ooh,
really love this guy's game. Do it all forward siya. And alam ko this is the type of player na gustong-gusto ni Tab ni Coach Tab, 'di ba? So
yeah.
with
It's the
what like
typical
five
tab power. Oh,
exactly,
typical tab
exactly.
power forward.
Yeah. So with five players from the team na five almost starters from the team na wala from last season. I think he's going to give Josh Lazaro a lot of playing time this season. So just because of that, I think he'll have a breakout season. And he showed flashes of his potential, no. I think just more consistent playing time will help him then. And syempre mas may experience na siya in the UAAP and playing sa mga international competitions nila. But siya yung runner up ko kasi I think the even more crucial player for Ateneo this season is Fortsky Padrigao, his co-rookie from last year. Uh we didn't we didn't really expect Fortsky to battle for the starting point guard position. I'm not sure, wala akong alam, hindi ko pa wala akong nababasa or anything. So hindi ko sure kung siya yung magiging starter or maybe it's Paul Garcia. Pero bigla siyang expected to be like the lead guard because of SJ's departure, 'di ba? So I think just because of that, Fortsky has no choice but to break out. Kung hindi, Ateneo will be on the outside looking in. Mahirapan silang to claim the championship again if Fortsky doesn't do well this year. So because of those reasons, no, I think Ateneo yung contending team kasi talaga na maraming nawala compared to all the other teams. Lasal,
Yep.
they lost Balti, they lost Lejera, but Kiambau's there to replace Balti. UP lost Richie and CJ, but more or less like the entire championship team
Yeah.
is still there.
The
Plus
core
marami
is still
silang
there.
mga bago like Galinato, si Kalimag. But Ateneo really lost a lot of players. So I expect, medyo homer pick pero si Fortsky tsaka Josh Lazaro. If I had to pick someone from another team, I'm just really, really, really high on Jamie Malonzo. And alam kong nag-breakout na siya last year, pero feel ko there's
Jamie
more to
Malonzo or
Jamie's
Michael
game.
Malonzo?
Ay, sorry. Jamie Malonzo.
Si
Nanood kasi
Jamie
akong
nasa PBA
Ginebra
na
eh.
pare.
Nanonood kasi ako Ginebra ng isang araw. Michael Malonzo, oo. I
Yeah.
think um there's still room for improvement for Mike Malonzo and um you know, very promising yung team nilang again this season. I think maganda yung pinakita ng NU sa preseason. So I think he'll get a chance to shine. Pero yon, I think for me talaga like the two Ateneans, the two sophomores from Ateneo yung may potential to break out.
Talagang homer pick ka. True blue. Yung
Sobrang
mga
homer
galing
pero high school pa eh, no? Pero wala eh, yun lang naisip ko right now. But I feel like ang dami kasing nawala talaga sa Ateneo and it's really hard to rely on like new players sa team
True.
to make an impact. So they have to rely on the returning
All right.
players.
So I was gonna say earlier, there are two ways to answer this question. It's either you get
Mm-hmm.
a player who's gonna get a rotation spot, so he's gonna get more minutes. That's what you did with Fortsky and Josh
Yes.
due to players graduating, yung players exiting the lineup, or a player who has been there, who's gotten the minutes, but the star has graduated and he's now thrust into a role, right? So Sam went the first way where he picked two players from Ateneo who were obviously gonna play big roles. Although for Josh Lazaro, I do wonder it's gonna be a timeshare between him and Kai Balungay for
Yeah.
from Ateneo. So Tab loves Kai, but I think Josh is the better defender among the two. I think we saw it in the World University games when it comes to clutch minutes. Tab prefers Josh out there. He's a better playmaker, he's a better defender, so he's gonna get a lot of minutes at lunchtime. I guess it depends if Kai Balungay actually waxes hot or cold. Depends of how many minutes Josh gets. So I'm gonna answer this. I'm not gonna go.
Matchups din for I think matchups din for me, like if they're going against like a Lasal and a UP, sobrang laki talaga nila, Gab, eh. I think kailangan mo ipasok, baka nga isabay mo pa si Kai, si Ange, tsaka si Josh kapag Lasal or UP kasi
The
they're
length,
that
no?
big. Oh.
But then again, Tab Baldwin stuck with Rafi Verano for most of the finals last season, despite the size of UP. You know? Rafi
Bro,
Verano was
nakita
like,
mo ba yung braso nun? Nakita mo ba yung braso ni Rafi Verano?
okay, okay. So I'm gonna answer this. Good point though. Good point though. Sapogi siya. So yung kailangan ng screen time. So anyway, I'm gonna answer this question. I'm not gonna pick two Atenean. So I'm gonna answer it like with the former. A guy who's thrust into a rotation spot, who barely got minutes last season. I'm gonna pick another Lasalista. We puro yung Lasalista pinipili ko. I'm gonna pick CJ Austria. So unlike you, Sam, I did watch some of the Phil Oil games, and CJ Austria took the spot of Kurt Lohera. So for everyone's information, Kurt Lohera has now graduated. So there's an open rotation spot in Lasal, and I think Derek Marin is giving it to CJ Austria. I love what he showed in the preseason. Uh, Showed a lot of shooting touch. He can play make. He's a pesky defender and loves to run. And Derek Pomaren's teams love to run. And I think he averaged like 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal and a block from the Phil Oil Flying V. It's Flying V. Oh, sorry, it's Echo Oil from the Phil Oil uh, preseason tournament. So I don't think he's gonna be a star per se. You know, I think there are a lot of talented players in LaSalle, but in terms of coming into everyone's knowledge, the casual UAP fan is gonna know who CJ Austria is. He's gonna have a lot of chances to to score and to show his wear. So CJ Austria is my runner-up. My top pick, as I've said in our Adamson draft, I really think it's Baby Boy. It has to be Baby Boy. Cedric Manzano. We saw him last season. He got minutes last season, and I think con- Nacho Sela will continually feed him minutes because I think he's very valuable. He can score. He's a type of guy na just like we talked about this. He's just like you, the perfect place, perfect time kind of guy. You know, just the drop pass person for Jerome Lastimosa, and he's very good around the basket. He's also a very good defender. I think if between him or Lenda Duanga, of course, Lenda Duanga is gonna get the matchup against the foreign student athletes and the bigger players from other teams. But I think if Coach Nasrosella wants more efficient offense on the floor, he's gonna have to play Baby Boy a lot more, and I think he's gonna average a lot of points. He's gonna get a lot of opportunities. So put me down for my breakout player, Cedric Manzano. Baby boy. I can't believe I'm using the
Ay,
term baby boy, but baby boy.
yeah, well, alam mo naman ako, favorite ko yan si Baby Boy. So, not mad at that pick. CJ Austria, nabasa ko nga, like, I think, improved shooter din ba or something. Basta parang like, he made decent threes ata nung preseason or parang may nabasa akong
Yep,
ganun. So, it makes
very decent.
sense. I think Lasal, parang nabasa ko, Lasal was one of the worst 3-point shooting teams last season. So,
Diba? Shocking eh.
anyone that can shoot like consistent threes for Lasal siguro would get the minutes from Coach Derek.
All right. So for our next question, Sam, who is a
Third
dark
question.
horse team? Uh, who's a dark horse team that you can that will probably surprise us this season? So okay, so I think everyone has this understanding of the UAAP this upcoming season. There are three teams at the top. There are three teams
Mm.
vying for top three. I think that's uh not in contention. It's gonna be UP, LaSalle, and Ateneo. In that specific order. UP is the favorite. LaSalle is the one uh, vying for battling. Is gonna battle UP for that number one seed, and Ateneo will kind of battle, try to surprise those top two. But those three are probably on top. Then you have the next three, which is the battle for the fourth, the fourth slot in the final four, which is FEU, Adamson, and NU. And then we have the battle for last place, which is UST and UE. So I think this is not even a hot take. I think this is very obvious. Talagang may tatlo yan. Tatlo sa top, tatlo sa gitna, at yung dalawa yung mag-battle kung sino yung magiging winless.
Yes,
Who's your
correct.
dark horse, Sabi?
Okay, correct. Tama naman. Pero syempre yung tanong is dark horse, 'di ba? So medyo it would be surprising for them to be one of the top teams, but also hindi naman surprising na like it's also realistic for them. So with that said, i-ex ko na yung eliminate ko na yung bottom two, yung UE at UST. Okay? So I'm sorry, no offense to the UE and UST community. I just parang I'm not sure ha. I'm not sure. Although UST like may promise new coach Bal David, marami siyang na-recruit ng mga sons of former players, so maybe could be interesting. But maybe baka masyado pang bata yung team. Baka masyado pang bata yung team. Excuse me. So, sa akin, tatlo lang ang pagpipilian mo sa Dark Horse kasi Ateneo Lasal UP, alam na natin yan. Dun sa tatlo, excuse me, I feel like it has to be like Adamson or NU eh. It has to be between Adamson or NU. So, um, neither of them made it to the final four. Uh, so I'm actually surprised na I'm saying FEU will not make it to the final four, no? Kasi I'm choosing between Adamson and NU dun sa last spot. But siguro Adamson, I'm not gonna consider them a dark horse just because meron silang Jerome Lastimosa. Like if you have a superstar like that, parang you can expect to win. He can will your team to win. So I'm gonna go for NU as my dark horse team. Again, as I mentioned kanina, feel ko breakout star dyan si Jamie Malonzo. Ito na naman tayo, Jamie Malonzo.
Michael.
Mike Malonzo. Tapos, don't forget, they lost Janjan Felicilda, Raylan Torres. Those guys were key contributors in last season. Pero, they already surprised us nung preseason. I think, wala silang talo or
Yep.
parang
Undefeated in the preseason.
undefeated. They went undefeated sa preseason. So, without me watching any of the games, just reading about it, I think NU is the type of team that will play as a unit, like as an entire team. It's well coached, and I think they will surprise teams. They will compete every game that they play. I think they will compete. Pero wala silang like very clear superstar like a Jerome Lastimosa or an LJ Gonzalez. But I think this team will definitely compete every time. So I have NU as my dark horse.
Uh, I am gonna pick the same team, NU. I think I mentioned this in one of our fantasy draft episodes. I really like NU, and I don't know if you saw the press con, the UAAP season 85 press con,
Wala talaga
but
akong pinanood at all. Go lang, go.
pero nung tinanong si Jeff Napa what he thought of NU's undefeated run in the Phil Oil. At ang sagot ni Jeff Napa, actually, wala lang yun. Dalawa lang Ateneo sa UP nung Phil Oil. So, parang wala rin. Keeping it real, Jeff Napa. I love it. Oh, wala lang. Playing it down. I don't know, but I love the realness from Jeff Napa. And also, I love the way they play. You are right, Sam. I love the ball movement. They don't have that play where they run it for just one person. It's an offense that feeds everyone a little bit of everything, and uh, their defense is very solid. Although I do want to push back against the star thing because I do think they have a star. I think this is finally the year we get to see the quote unquote breakout of John Lloyd Clemente. I've been waiting for it. I've been waiting for him to having a season where he's just the consistent top scorer for NU because we saw it a bit in the past, and then David Defonso came in. Then last year with I, Jan Felicilde and others, he wasn't as consistent. But I think this year is finally the year we see some consistency from John Lloyd Clemente. He has a lot of talent. I think he's the unquestioned leader. I think I think it's his last year. He's been there for so long. I think he's the oldest member of the team. He has the trust of Coach Jeff Napa, and also they do have a replacement point guard. Steve Nash Enriquez is pretty good. I love yung I love Steve Nash Enriquez's game, and also RJ Minerva. I think RJ Minerva's an excellent player.
RJ
Uh,
Minerva, yeah. Yeah. Nakalimutan ko yun.
yes, he's built like a tank. Have you seen yung nakita mo ang katawan niya? Laki ng mga braso niya eh. So, yun. So, RJ Minerva, I think is
May
also
bago din
good.
silang import,
Gonna
di
be,
ba?
yep, si Omar
Um,
John, who's like 6 foot
Yun.
11, 6 foot 10.
6'10", yeah.
And yeah, and uh, he knows how to play. So, I'm excited for NU. I think they're gonna battle for that number 4 spot. So, we've obviously given our final four predictions since we think that NU is probably gonna undercut those two other teams for that number 4 spot. Whew. All right. So good luck. I think NU's playing tomorrow. I think yeah, it's NU versus UE tomorrow at Noah Arena. So I am definitely gonna watch that game. I want to see how NU plays. All right. For our next question, Sam, you wanted to go to rookies. Okay, so let's go to rookies. I won't limit you, Sam, to the rookie by definition of the UAP. So you can choose a rookie that uh, has probably has probably played before. It's not considered a rookie, but it's the first time we're seeing in the UAP. So who's the rookie you want to watch the most? Question: watch the most, not necessarily gonna win Rookie of the Year, because I think Kevin Kiambao has that on lock.
Wala, GG easy to. Kevin Kiambao pa rin. Um, Rookie I want to watch the most, Kevin Kiambao. Saw him sa Gilas, watched his games. I really love this guy kasi I love playmaking forward. Sobrang, kaya nga idol ko din si LeBron, si Jokic, yung mga playmaking bigs. Yung mga sobrang favorite ko when I was younger. Um Favorite ko Sacramento kasi si Weber and si Divac were great passing bigs eh. Older, more modern NBA definitely Mark Gasol and Jokic are the type of playmaking bigs that I love to watch. So sa akin, Kevin Kiambao, this guy, alam mo, malaking loss yung pagkawala ni Balti, pero I feel like Kevin Cambao is going to be like a way better replacement, a better Balti in the future eh. Kasi he has the size, he can score, and then he can play make, no? So I'm really excited for what this guy has to offer. Super, alam mo, I hate it na naglasal siya, but I'm also happy kasi hindi siya nag-UP. Kasi ano to eh, di ba? Monteverde player din to eh, no? Imagine mo yun,
Yeah.
Carl Tamayo tsaka Kevin Kiambao in the same team. Like, buti na lang talaga hindi siya nag-UP or hindi sila dalawang nag-NU. Can you imagine kung nag-stay sa NU lahat ng mga NU players na to? Parang,
Di
sobrang
ba?
lakas ng NU nun.
Lakas sana na
So,
ANU eh.
I hate that he went to LaSalle, but at least magiging competitive na yung LaSalle, or like at least LaSalle will stay competitive. So wala, Kevin Kiambao,
Yung at least magiging
by far.
exciting na yung Ateneo Lasal games finally.
Oh, alam mo, oo, pero at the same time ayoko sabihin yun kasi baka matalo tayo eh. Ayoko matalo sa LaSalle eh.
Ay, nako. Okay,
Kaya yun,
so
like,
uh, so
basically
if
for
we're
me,
gonna,
like he has not yet played a single game in the UAAP or for LaSalle in the UAAP, but he's already like one of my favorite players of all time already. Ganun ako ka-hype kay Kevin Kiambao.
wow, Kevin Kiambao. Okay, sige. Of so I didn't want to pick Kevin Kiambao. So I think everyone is picking him for Rookie of the Year. Sans any injury, I think everyone is just gonna vote for him for Rookie of the Year. I think he's gonna run away with it. So I'm gonna pick someone else. So I mentioned him earlier. I'm gonna pick Kai Balungay as a quote unquote rookie to be excited for. We saw him in the World University Games. He has a lot of game on the offensive end. He has a lot of skills. He can sobrang multi-talent. He can attack the basket, can post up, can shoot. Uh, his only flaw, I think, as I said earlier, is going to be on the defensive end. He's not as fast uh, on his feet. Coach Tab likes to switch a lot, especially with the pick and roll. So if Kai Balungay gets exposed, I think we're going to see a lot of Josh Lazaro. He's a more switchable player, he's a better defender. What I am excited, he can dunk, he can finish off the alley oop. It's gonna be exciting to watch him play. I do hope he becomes a more active cutter. I did watch some of the preseason exhibition games where when he didn't get the ball or plays weren't running through him, he would kind of just sit in a corner, sit in a dunker spot, everything, but didn't cut as hard. So I wanted to cut as hard, play off Dave, you play off Ange, play off Fortsky, and get those easy baskets or get to the free throw line more. So yeah, for me it's Kai Balungay. There's a lot of hype surrounding him. Uh, we're definitely gonna hope that he comes out and scores a lot of points, makes a lot of plays, and earns those minutes. So for me, it's Kai Balungay. Is there anyone else, Sam?
Ah,
Is there really anyone else you want to watch out for?
one thing lang kay Kai, no, parang ang napansin ko dun sa mga preseason games niya, I think what will make or break his season din is yung tama ka, yung cutting, pero ang napansin ko din yung consistency sa three-point shooting niya. Parang yung games na he couldn't hit a three-point shot, sobrang naging non-factor siya. Pinapabayaan na lang siya. Pero I know he has parang decent naman yung shot niya, and sa world, I think nung World University, which is yung nag-MVP siya, mainit siya nun eh. Like he could make the threes nun. But I think against like the Israeli teams, parang hindi siya masyado, he couldn't make a three. So I think yun lang yung something that I hope he can be consistent with din, yung shooting niya. So people can respect his shot. Uh, Other rookies. I guess for me, si ano, not really a rookie. Ano tawag mo dito? Not really a rookie. I think naglaro na siya. I think he was part of the team last year, pero didn't get that much playing time. Si RC Kalimag from UP. Um, uh, Maraming hype on him. Like, people are hyped. I think one of the top scorers din siya sa preseason. So, expect a lot from him din. So, maybe someone to watch out for. Lalo na, yun nga, sabi ko nga, wala na si Richie, wala din si CJ. So, someone has to be the go-to scorer for that team. Gab, parang wala kang audio, hindi kita marinig.
Uh, there, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. So, good call kay RC Kalimag. I totally forgot about him. With this stacked UP team, I totally forgot that they have another guy coming in called RC Kalimag. So, for my next question, Sam, let's go with some negativity. Who's your bust of the season? It can be a team. It can be a player or a coach. If you want to call it a coach, if you want to mention a coach, who's your bust of the season? Who do you think is going to disappoint? So I'll give you some time to look through the rosters. Maybe you wanna.
Oo nga eh. Natatakot ako, baka ma-cancel ako eh kung may sabihin akong bust eh.
Ano lang yan? Si Tony Gonzaga
Lag-
na sa Shopee na yung na-cancel na yung Shopee. Yung obviously they're all busy canceling Shopee, so it's okay.
Teka, I'm looking at the roster ngayon ah.
Sige, I'm gonna go first to help you out.
Sige, go.
Uh, my bust of the season is actually gonna come from UP. I think Jerry Abajano and Terence Fortea might be bust, and it's hard to call them busts because they didn't really have great seasons last year, and I don't think they're gonna have great seasons again this year. So people might be wondering, oh, wala na si Richie Rivero, saka si Jay Cancino, so there are minutes open. Yeah, that's true. There are minutes open in UP. However, there are also a lot of guards that and wing players who can take over Richie's minutes. So I think, so let's look at the depth chart of UP for the season. So it's obviously going to be JD Kagulangan. And I think we're going to see James Spencer start beside him. And then Zave Lucero at the 3, Carl Tamayo at the 4, and Malik Juf at the 5. So that's the starting 5. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same starting 5 as last season, just without Richie. Well, actually, Richie didn't even start. Did he? I think
Hindi.
James Spencer started for. So yes, and then if we're gonna go to the backcourt and the wings, you mentioned RC Kalimag. I think he's gonna play a lot. He has great length. I think he's gonna back up Zib Lucero at the 3 and even play the power forwards position at times. And then
Alarcon.
choosing choosing between Jerry Abajano and Alarcon, I think Coach Goldwyn likes Alarcon's game more. And when given the opportunity, he stepped up big time in the final. So it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
see Jerry Abajano getting minutes between James Spencer, Harold Alarcon, and RC Kalimag. And we also have uh, Terence Fortea batting for minutes. I think Terence Fortea is going to back up JD Kagulangan on most nights. Uh, However, most majority of the minutes probably gonna go to JD Kagulangan. I hope most majority of the minutes goes to JD Kagulangan, as we saw in the finals when JD Kagulangan was off the floor, their offense falls off. Kumakalat yung offense nila. He's just like June Manzo. Uh, he's the floor general. I think JD Kagulangan is gonna get majority of the minutes at point guard. And there are a lot of other players, Sam, dito sa UP. Brex Ramos is team captain. I'm not sure if he's gonna get any minutes, but team captain has a lot of weight. Maybe he gets some minutes. So yeah, I think Jerry Abajano, Terence Fortea are still gonna be buried on the bench. They're not gonna play that much minutes unless they're really hot. For Golden Monteverde, the depth of UP is just killing them. And for dagdag mo pa next season, darating pa si Torres sa si Felicilda sa lineup. So I don't know. I think they're bust for this season.
Um, if I had to choose between the two, feel ko may chance si Jerry Abadiano kasi ano siya parang spark plug, ano siya offense off the bench. Kapag uminit siya, talagang mainit din siya I think ha. Kaya if I had to choose between the two, I think Jerry Abadiano has a chance to do well or to crack the rotation. For me kasi si Terence Fortea talaga yung parang um, was wildly inconsistent nung last season. At least, naalala ko si Jerry contributed to yung run ng UP against Lasal nung Final Four. He had like crucial threes na bato lang siya ng bato, pumapasok. So,
And I
I think
think
he
that's
has a
gonna be his
chance.
role diba? Yung six scorer of the bench type of guy. We saw
Correct.
that last season. But again, may Alarcon pa yung coming off the bench. And there are other guys in the UP roster. I'm looking at it right now. Yung guys sa UP roster, we don't even know if si Ashon Andrews, Antonio Sebe, who are these guys? I
Yeah.
don't think bigs, but they could get some minutes from the other guys. So I know I think it's gonna be tough for the two NU Bullpups to come and have breakout seasons and fulfill the expectations. Hey, so who's your bust?
Tinatry ko pumili ng player pero not sure. Just to share siguro yung runner-up ko for potential bust. Pero again, I'm not sure kasi hindi ko naman napanood yung pre-season. But for me, I'm going to pick someone from Lasal. And I think medyo naging bust na siya last season. So just like you, kung ikaw pinili mo mga parang medyo busty nung last season, ganun din yung pipiliin ko. Sa akin si Mark Nonoy. Um,
Ooh.
Anong reaction yan? Like, negative reaction ba?
Wala, wala. Wala. I'm thinking Mark Nono is gonna be bigger this
Breakout.
season. Us?
Okay, okay.
Oh.
I mean, I'm saying nga, he's my runner-up. Potential to be a bust. Kasi I'm just basing it off last season na sobrang naging inconsistent siya and later on sa season, nawalan siyang minutes. I feel like nawala ng tiwala si Coach Derek Pumarin kay Mark Nonoy nung latter half nung season. And nag-contribute doon syempre yung Evaniele finally got his groove. I think si Evaniele kasi nung start nung season last season, medyo figuring things out pa Pero he was so good nung bandang dulo na nung season. So, potential. Pero tama ka, like, there's really an opportunity for Mark Nonoy to step up for Lasal. Hopefully, that's the case. I really love this guy when he was in UST. So, I'm still waiting for that Mark Nonoy. Pero, inconsistent siya last season. So, I'm not sure. Okay? So, kaya parang siya lang yung naiisip ko and I count him as a bust kasi there's so much expectation from him. Like, a lot is expected from him. So, if ang taas na nung standard na naset niya before eh. So like if he doesn't reach that standard, for me he's a bust. So yun lang naman yun, no? But I'm not saying na wala siyang kwenta, wala siyang minutes, like he's not gonna contribute. Hindi naman. Pero he was so good talaga nung rookie season niya. Hindi ko talaga makalimutan yung 30-point game niya against Ateneo in the finals. Baliw
Ah,
talaga yun. Baliw. Rookie season. So yun lang yun. That's the reason why. Pero if I had to pick a bust, I think as a team, we should count FEU as a bust kung hindi sila magpa-Final Four. Kasi I think we talked about this last season. FEU has been the most consistent team in the Final Four ever since. Parang sila yung laging nasa Final Four for forever.
always been.
Um, And kita mo naman, nag-agree tayo kanina, it was NU that it was the top three and then NU will make the fourth spot. So we're both saying na FEU will not make it to the fourth spot. And ako, to be honest with you, if I had to pick between, so I say NU would be fourth. If I had to pick between Adamson and FEU, I don't know, for some reason parang Adamson yung pipiliin ko eh. So, parang for me, I'm ranking FEU at number 6. So, FEU at number 6, I think, is bust. Parang, that's not how we know FEU. So, personally, like, that's how I assess the teams right now. Maybe because then, again, I didn't watch any of the preseason. Sorry, guys. Pero, ang maingay nung preseason, other than the big three
Excuse ka
teams, are
pare, yung
NU.
may anak ka na eh.
Ano na?
Yung
Yun nga
may
eh.
excuse ka. May anak
So,
ka na eh.
so guys, to people watching, kaya hindi ako nanood ng mga preseason. That was the time na my wife gave birth, no? So, kaya hindi ako nakanood. So, anyway, ang maingay sa akin nung preseason, other than the big three, NU tsaka Adamson. Adamson nanalo sa isang league in the province.
Yung nag-tour
NU,
sila ng Pilipinas, pare.
oo,
Yung ano,
exactly.
nag-tour sila ng Pilipinas, tapos naglaro lang
Exactly.
everywhere.
Oo. Tapos NU went, undefeated. Yung wala akong naririnig about is FEU eh. The only news I heard about FEU, umalis si RJ Abarientos, which is not good news, di ba? So, because of that, I'm picking FEU as a bust.
That's actually a good point, Sam. If I did watch some FEU games in the preseason,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Kamusta?
and their lineup is essentially the same, just without RJ Abaretos. Their lineup is the same, and bumalik si Patrick Chuente. I don't know where he went.
Huh?
I think just because, yeah, si Patrick Chuente is back.
Oh.
You remember yung si Patrick Chuente? He was the one who replaced Orizu. I think Orizu, yeah. I think it
Ata.
was Orizo, and he's back. I think the reason and I'm assuming here is because si Ojula isang year lang siya, so parang sasabi
Isang year
siguro
lang.
ni Olsen Racela, go, yung maglaro ka na nung last year mo, saka na lang natin ibabalik si Pat Chuente. So
Hey,
so
pero
Patrick
si
Chuente is back.
big loss din yun si Ojula. We both like Ojula. He was so good. He
Yeah,
was so good and dominant.
yeah, he
Like,
was.
consistent. So, imagine mo yun, RJ and Ojula nawala.
Yun. So, however, they didn't even use Ojula that much. So I think yung role ni Chuente is gonna be the same as Ojula. So big guy, get rebounds, putbacks and all that. Pero wala na yung scoring punch from RJ Abarendos. And talk about a guy na dark horse MVP kind of. I think LJ Gonzalez is gonna put up a lot of numbers. He's like the only guard left. Well, si Royce Alforque is there, but in terms of offense that centers around you, Olsen Racela loves guards, and his team shoots a lot of threes, plays runs, very guard centric. LJ Gonzalez could sneak in there for MVP, maybe battle Jerome Lastimosa for top scoring in the UAAP. But yeah, FEU, man, if they don't make the Final Four, grabe yun. Kasi I think you're right. I think I ever since bata tayo, sa
For as
Final
long as
Four,
I can remember.
diba? Totoo yan. There has been such a good programming, very consistent. So yeah, it's gonna take a team
So,
effort from FPU. I think those three teams talaga, for the teams in the middle, for them to be successful, for them to sneak into number four, or maybe number three, highly unlikely, but maybe they're in the final four. For them to sneak in, they have to rely a lot on team basketball. It can't just be one player. Adamson cannot just rely on Jerome Lastimosa. FAU cannot just rely on LJ Gonzalez. They have to rely on their teammates. They have to play team basketball. Yeah, I do agree. Pang FAU hindi nag-final four. Right.
sorry,
4 hours. Oh, go, go, go.
just to add then, I realized sa FEU, kanina yung question mo, breakout player, Cyrus Torres, I think now without like RJ, I think there's an opportunity for Cyrus Torres also to become like a top scorer for FEU. So could also be like a breakout player or star for FEU. Yun lang.
I
Okay,
would think
next
it's more
question.
Royce Alforque.
Alforque or si ano Cholo Año I think
Chola, I think he was injured last season. He played one game.
exactly. Yeah,
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
correct.
Pero I think mataas ang expectation sa kanya. Yeah. We'll see, we'll see.
So,
Ilang questions na lang, Gab?
I think that's our fifth. I've lost count. I think it's our fifth. Yeah, that's our fifth.
Okay.
So, two more. Let's
Last
see.
two.
We're about. So, last two. So my next question, Sam, is for this season, the UAAP is implementing the coaches challenge. Uh, Very progressive. Something that has caught us by surprise. So something that has been trending in the basketball world. The NBA has adopted it. The coaches challenge. So what's a change this season that you are most looking forward to? What's a wrinkle, or maybe in the coming seasons? What's a trend? What's an ongoing trend that you see that you will enjoy? You want me to go first? I can go first.
Um I have something. I think for me, looking forward to pwede. Pero I think the biggest change na we've already started seeing this season, and I think we're going to see a lot of moving forward. Um, yung trend of players not finishing their 5 years in college. I think that's like the
That's
biggest trend for
good. That's
me.
good.
Kasi it's such a big game changer, di ba? Kunyari, makakuha ka ng RJ Abarientos type of player sa team mo. Ikaw, FEU fan ka, parang shit, 5 years ni RJ, first year pa lang niya, MVP level player na siya. And then next year, wala na pala siya. Or parang si SJ, di ba? Like, we were like, SJ, 2 more years, big three, SJ, Ange, tsaka Dave, may 1 more year pa, babawi tayo this year. And then, out of nowhere, out na rin si SJ. And I think, nag-start lang siya ngayon, but I think we should expect more in the coming seasons. So it's a game changer kasi you can't expect your stars na to be there for like the 5 years. And sobrang mas sasabog yung plans mo. 'Di ba? Parang yung expectations mo na parang 5 years. I'm not saying anything, pero just judging from the level of players that are leaving, UP expects 5 years of Carl Tamayo, but are we really sure na Carl Tamayo will play 5 years given
Oh.
yung talent
Ooh.
niya and skill level niya? So the entire team is centered around Carl Tamayo. So kung mawala si Carl, that's a big loss for UP. And I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. So medyo negative siya in the sense na sayang, 'di ba? Like as a fan, as a UP fan, gusto mo makita si Carl Tamayo for 5 years. But I think it's good, and we've always said this kasi Carl Tamayo is a monster in the UAAP. He needs to be playing professionally somewhere else na kasi sobrang ready na yung katawan niya in yung game niya and he needs to develop that. In fact, I think it was Maui who keeps saying this, 'di ba, na sayang lang si Carl Tamayo sa UAAP din kasi he plays like a big sa UAAP pero sa totoo lang dapat nagde-develop siya as a guard or forward. 6'7" guy who can dribble, handle the ball, make shots. He would be really
Not
dominant kung
used to like
i-develop mo
that,
yung
remember?
exactly sa Gilas, 'di ba? 3 yung laro niya 'di ba? Anyway, yon. So that's good for the players in terms of development. But I also think na, and I think this is something that Rebo Sagisag mentioned, I think it's also good for the UAAP in the end. Kasi it creates more competitive seasons. Bakit? Kasi one season, your UP's the favorite kasi nandiyan si Carl Tamayo. The next season, wala na si Carl Tamayo. It sort of like levels the playing field. May chance na bigla ngayon yung other teams. And it it puts even more importance in the recruitment, the yearly recruitment process of teams. Hindi ka pwedeng magre-relax lang. Maka-recruit ka ng 5 magagaling na players this year, relax ka na. Kasi before for example, I go back to that 5-peat Ateneo team, di ba? Nung year na yon, na-recruit nila si Salva, si Buenafe, si Justin Chua. Sobrang solid nung recruit na yon, yung tatlong yun lang, sobrang solid na you just add other guys around them, that's a solid team, 'di ba? But this year, parang hindi ka na pwede mag-relax eh. Kasi kapag mag-relax ka, parang next year, maybe your top 2 players are gone. So dapat, ibig sabihin, ang challenge is every year, you have to recruit solid or good players that will be ready to contribute to your team para you can always stay competitive. And I think, this season is the start. We will see that effect with the early exit of RJ and SJ. But I expect more players to do that in the coming seasons. So I think that's the biggest change or the biggest trend na we should look out for.
That's good, Sam. That is a great point. I might just put that as a short clip. Maybe,
Go
but
ahead.
to your to your point, Sam, that's a great point. That RJ Abarientos and SJ Belangan leaving were shockwaves, 'di ba? 'Di ba?
Triggers. Triggers sila,
Talaga,
catalysts.
totoo. And I'm glad that the UAAP is not taking action against these players leaving, unlike a certain other Philippine league that's
Very
very back.
supportive yung UAAP.
Yeah, they're very supportive, and I think the players have every right to pursue a career in basketball. If they're being paid a lot of money to play basketball, go ahead. Uh, Although side of me does want them to complete their studies because I still think an education goes a long way in even beyond basketball. So I think SJ graduated already, so he got his degree. So I'm happy for him. So for other players, that's just something to think about, or maybe get assurance na even after my playing years, I can come back and get my scholarship and finish my studies. Some people do that. Maybe schools are willing to do that for their players. Maybe. Sige, you pursue your basketball career, but if you ever want to come back and study, you could finish out your scholarship here, because I think it's really a big thing. In the Philippines, you really can't get anywhere without a good education. Well, not anywhere, but you can go a long way with a college degree and a good education. So I do hope that they consider that to finish up their education in college. So for my answer to this question, one thing that I'm pretty happy about is they're finally going away from MOA for some time in the season. So,
Gab, ayusin mo naman sagot mo. Ang ganda-ganda ng sagot ko eh. Ayusin mo naman.
kasi yun talaga yung when I saw na, uy, Ateneo Lozano is gonna be in Araneta in October 9, yeah, or on October 9.
Araneta ba? Araneta.
Araneta Coliseum, Ateneo Lasal, just like the old days. And it's better to watch in Araneta than MOA, I'm sorry. So maybe sometime in the future when it gets safer, I might be able to go back and watch again. There's Phil Sports Arena, the formerly
Old
known as
school.
Ultra, in Inares Sports Center in
Inaris.
Antipolo.
Antipolo.
Uh, so for those who are unfamiliar, it's a lot easier to go to Inares than it is to go to MOA. It's a lot less traffic. So I'm excited. If ever I'm willing to go back to watching games again, I would much prefer going to Araneta, Phil Sports, or uh, Inares than going to MOA. It's just a difficult travel yung going to MOA. So that's one. The second is social media. I don't know if you follow it, Sam. The UAAP has a social media page
The
called
UAAP. It's called the
UAAP. Yeah, and they're pretty active. So that's a step in the right direction. This is something that we've griped
We
about.
re- we talked
In
about, yeah. I
yeah,
think they
we've
watched
talked
the
about
podcast.
it. Someone from the
I think they
UAAP.
listen.
Uh,
Yeah. I think they listen to us. Kasi I
yeah.
think we pointed that out na wala silang social media coverage. I think it was Dale na nag-point out. Sabi niya, grabe, social media coverage pa lang, wala na. 'Di ba? I remember
Diba?
that. Oo, tama ka.
It goes a long way. And that UAAP page is pretty active. I don't have Twitter, so I'm not sure if they have a Twitter page, but I assume there's a Twitter page that, game updates and all that. That go a long way. So, step in the right direction. I still don't like that there's still a hurdle. You still have to have premium cable or a premium subscription. You have to subscribe to Smart, change your SIM to get a Smart SIM, and subscribe to Smart Data just to watch games on the go. I still don't like that, but social media presence pretty important in 2022. So I'm happy that they're doing it. Step in the right direction. I do hope they get some live stats on the way, better statistical uh, I don't know, environment, just that. So I'm pretty happy on that. Step in the right direction. So kudos to the host, Adamson. So I think the host
Adamson.
does this, handles these marketing and all that. The administration part of the UAP goes to the host. So
Ganun pala
kudos
yun.
to Adamson. They made a good impression so far. So far. So yeah. Last question, Sam. It's been an hour.
Question,
So
sorry,
okay.
question muna. Magkakaroon na ba ng juniors games ulit?
I think so. I know the women's division is
Alam ko,
back.
yeah,
So
okay.
I think so. Yeah, I think juniors
Okay.
basketball is coming back. I think all sports are coming back. Pretty happy to see that. Man, I just want to watch.
Yeah,
I
so
want to
you
watch
know,
again.
um siguro yun yung fun answer ko, like yung new change for this season is like there are more sports now, more sports that will be played sa UAAP. uh Women's, being a basketball fan, I'm excited for women's basketball, um and most especially juniors basketball. I think na mention ko to before, but to be honest with you, I've watched more juniors games than seniors games. Kasi number one, nasi-stress ako pag seniors games. Alam mo yan, Gab, di ba? Parang feel ko, yung ano ko, yung winning percentage ko pag nanonood ako live, mas maraming losses. So, ayoko na manood ng live. Pero second, yung juniors kasi dito lang usually sa Ateneo gym. I live nearby, so and mura tickets at hindi ka like magpapakamatay para makakuha ng ticket to watch a good game. Um, so I don't know. I'm looking forward to watching more juniors basketball again after what 3 years. Sana makanood ako. Sana meron diyan sa Ateneo Gym ulit. We'll see.
Yeah, juniors basketball, and we get to see the upcoming players.
Upcoming talents, yes.
Yeah, the new recruits for the college division, for the
Yeah.
seniors division.
And I'm really happy na nanood akong juniors noon because I actually the first game I brought my wife to, dinala ko siya kasi sabi ko sa kanya, we have to watch this Kai Soto guy. I just have to see this 7'3" center na naglalaro sa juniors. Gusto ko makita ano itsura niya playing with all those high school kids. And I feel so lucky to have watched him like twice kasi I didn't know na hindi naman siya tutuloy sa seniors, 'di ba? So we never got to watch him in an Ateneo seniors game, but I feel lucky to have seen him nung high school. So yun, it's a special moment for me.
Yeah, juniors basketball. So for those unfamiliar, juniors basketball is very fast, a lot of turnovers, but very exciting. So if anyone ever gets a chance to watch again, the juniors basketball is actually pretty awesome. So our last question, Sam, I'm not gonna make it too difficult. Who is your champion for yung season 85?
Ang hirap naman yan. Ikaw muna.
Uh, for me, uh, I I think it's gonna be Lasal. As much as it pains me to say it, my heart says Ateneo, but I think Lasal can creep up on UP and get that championship. I'm a big Mike Phillips fan. You're a big Kevin Campbell fan. They have a ton of depth. Uh, they're coached pretty well by Derek Pomaran. And remember, last year, LaSalle was supposed to be in the finals. They were an Evanelli layup away from making it to the finals from upsetting UP. They were there. They were on the cusp. And their lineup is essentially the same. They just Justin Baltasar was just replaced by Kevin Kiambao. Kurt Lohera is gone, but Mark Nona and CJ Austria are there. So watch out for Lasal. I think Lasal, as much as I don't want to say this, I really hate pa nagka-champion ng Lasal. Naiinis talaga ako.
Ako
Nag-boil ang
din.
dugo ko. Pero talaga, ang lakas ng Lasal. I think they're gonna creep up on UP. I think Lasal is gonna take season 85.
Yeah. So, yun. As I mentioned and you mentioned already, tinignan ko yung right before this podcast, may article yung tiebreaker times I think, tapos parang they talked about the three big teams, no, Ateneo, Lasal and UP. Tapos tinignan ko yung analysis, yung lineups. Tapos yun nga, sa akin kasi, 'di ba? I think dun sa tatlo, Ateneo is like the lowest rank or parang yung least expected to win out of the three. Just because you lost like 5 key players. 5, 4, 5, whatever. And those were crucial players. Lalo na si SJ. Kung nandiyan si SJ, baka like sabihin ko lalaban Ateneo eh. Pero wala eh. So I think, Ateneo's, out. May fighting chance pero like Lasal and UP are just more talented. Ngayon, tinitingnan ko Lasal and UP. And as I mentioned nga kanina, what we've been talking about, the problem with UP, I think UP is still the favorite, no? They're still the favorite. Pero yung problem ko with UP is who is going to replace Richie and CJ? Parang yun yung hindi ko ma-figure out eh. Like, how will they replace Richie and CJ? And as much shit as we threw at Richie all throughout the season, he was so good nung finals. Like, he was clutch. Except the game 2, 'di ba? Na he messed up yung inbounds play. Pero other than that, he was so good. and he was clutch. And CJ, oh my God, let's not talk about it. Nagkaka-nightmares pa rin ako sa mga three-pointers niya. Three-pointer to nung fourth quarter, ganyan. So, feel ko yun yung mahirap palitan. So, as you mentioned and as we've talked about, yung Lasal, the two big players that they lost, Balti and um, Lohera, number one, Balti was replaced by Kevin Kiambao. And I would argue na Kiambao would actually be a better fit dito sa team na to.
Agree.
My
Agree. Yes.
So I actually think they improved on this position, no? Kasi I think yung style ni Kevin Kiambao is such a perfect fit sa team na to. And lalo na dahil playmaker siya, the problem for me with Lasal last year kasi is wala talaga, other than Nele, wala silang playmaking guard eh. Wala silang playmaker eh. Nonoy and Shawnee Winston are both scorers. And sabi ko nga, 'di ba, Nonoy
I hate
was
Shawnee
very
Winston.
inconsistent. Nonoy was very inconsistent. Shawnee Winston is also super inconsistent. Titira lang yan ng titira eh. And I think that's what ruined
Diba?
yung plays ng Lasal or yung offense ng Lasal eh. So if you look at that article by Tiebreaker Times, ay sorry, hindi ko kilala yung writer. Let me just do a quick check to Ryan Alba yon. So if you read the article by Ryan Alba, Lasal was really good defensively pero really poor offensively. And imagine mo if you just replace Balti with Kevin Kiambao, his offense and his playmaking, I think sobrang he can really level up this team eh. Kurt Lohera naman, yun yung pinaka mawawala sa kanila. Like, he was like the best perimeter
Galing ni
defender, to
Kurt
be
Lohera.
fair to him.
Yep.
So, and he was a consistent mid-range scorer. Parang Chris Newsome yung laro nito nung final year niya. So, I think that one they will miss. But if you just compare to the players that the other two teams lost in sa UP, sina Richie, and sa Ateneo sina SJ, Mamu, Tio, um what's his face? Yung big man natin, si Pogi.
Si Ryan Verano. Si Rafi Verano.
Rafi Verano. Parang Lasal yung parang Lasal yung pinaka-intact na team. And so I think they're going to be really good. And I agree with you, Gab. I think they're going to win the championship as much as it pains me. And then to your point, I think kasi yung Lasal is kontrapelo to UP when it comes to their size. Even with Kai Balungay on board sa Ateneo, still feel like talo tayo when it comes to size against UP. Doon tayo nahihirapan.
Gio
Yung length.
Chu.
Oh, Gio Chu is big. The problem is, Gio Chu is a slow center, di ba? Ang kalaban ni Gio Chu sa UP is Dioff, who's like much longer than him, and then Carl Tamayo, who's like a point guard in a big man's body. Same thing with Lasal now. Si Mike Phillips is super athletic and quick. And then si Kevin Kiambao is also like this point guard in a big man's body. So I think doon tayo medyo like talo. But we'll see. Kyle Balungay, Josh Lazaro help us. Pero I agree. I agree. I think UP will come in as the favorites to start. But I think at the end of parang last year, 'di ba? If last year Ateneo was the favorite all throughout, and then UP won the championship. I think this year it's going to be UP that's going to be the favorite all throughout, but I think Lasal will upset UP. And I hate it, but Lasal will win the championship.
Wow! Dalawang Atenista pinili ang Lasal para mag-champion this season. I think that's a great way to end this episode. So that's it, everyone. Those are our 7 burning questions for this afternoon's UAAP season. Tell us what you think. Who is your MVP? Who's your breakout? Who's your dark horse team? Who do you think's gonna win the championship this season? Uh, like, subscribe, share the video, help us, spread the word about our podcast. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, dalawang Atenista pumili Lasal mag-champion this season.
I hate this.
Yeah.
End na. End. End broadcast. Ayoko na.